Hi everyone, my name is JangHyeon Lee, and I'm happy to present our paper, Diminish AR, Diminishing Visual Distractions via Holographic AR Displays. Here we can see a typical study desk setup. However, what you may not realize is that your smartphone right next to you could actually be draining your cognitive resources. Research shows that even when not in use, the mere presence of a smartphone can introduce cognitive drawbacks. This phenomena is known as the brain drain effect. Although physically removing smartphones can help, it is not always practical or desirable, as one is more likely to move the phone away in a pocket or a bag than in a different room. In fact, smartphone separation can also induce fear of missing out and anxiety, as smartphones are often perceived as an extension of oneself. And so we simply ask, can we reduce the brain drain effect by visually reducing the smartphone salience via AR displays? To explore this question, we define two key research questions. First, would visually reducing the phone's salience via AR improve cognitive performance compared to a nearby phone without visual alteration? Second, would it provide cognitive benefits similar to physically removing the phone? But what does it mean to visually reduce the phone's salience with AR? Traditionally, AR amplifies our environment by adding virtual elements. In contrast, diminished reality, aka DR, does the opposite. Instead of adding, it removes or alters visual elements. And so DR has been explored for decluttering environments, but its impact on cognition remains largely unstudied. In our study, we applied DR to reduce the visual salience of distractions like smartphones, providing the first empirical evidence of DR's effectiveness in enhancing cognition. Just like noise-canceling headphones reduce unwanted sounds, our goal is to cancel out visual distractions. Using the Microsoft HoloLens 2, we introduced two visual cancellation techniques. First is visual camouflage, where we project a cuboid hologram that has a slightly larger dimension than the phone, while also replicating the visual features of the background. This reduces the object's visibility in the user's field of view. Unlike visual camouflage, visual substitution replaces it with a context-relevant hologram like a book on a desk. This not only hides the phone, but also repurposes the space with contextually meaningful objects that can promote focus. To achieve effective visual cancellation, we delineate our design space, optimizing color, texture, size, dimensionality, quantity, and motion within the AR device constraints. Since the AR device use an additive display, colors impact how well an object is visually concealed. Our experiment tested a gradient of holograms, revealing that darker shades fail to conceal, whereas brighter colors improve visual cancellation. Hologram realism also relies on texture alignment, as mismatched textures create an unnatural experience. We find that a plain, non-reflective white background makes visual camouflage more effective. Accurate hologram sizing is also key to effective cancellation. It must fully obscure the phone while maintaining natural proportions. Too small looks unnatural, while too large distorts realism. Hence, holograms should be sized to fit naturally within their environment. Dimensional accuracy is also key. Since real-world objects have depth, 3D holograms are essential for natural blending within the environment. The perceptual load theory also suggests that too many visual elements create clutter, reducing recognition performance. To maintain focus, we limited the scene to a single target hologram. Research shows that unnecessary animation increases distraction and cognitive load. To minimize the strain, we use static holograms. And so to ensure a consistent user experience while performing tasks at a desk, we outline specific setup guidelines. We minimize ambient lighting and use curtains to control external light. With the AR device's 52-degree field of view, the smartphone was placed near the laptop for consistent visibility. For further setup details, please refer to the paper. We recruit 60 participants, randomly assigning 15 to each of 4 conditions to compare the cognitive impact of different phone conditions. To assess cognitive capacity, we used OSPAN and RSPM tasks following prior work. In OSPAN, participants solve math problems while memorizing unrelated words. In RSPM, participants complete increasingly complex visual pattern matching puzzles. This flowchart summarizes our study procedure. All participants wore the HoloLens 2 for consistency during cognitive tasks. Please refer to the paper for further details. We use ANOVA and post-hoc tests to analyze OSPAN scores, revealing a significant effect of phone conditions on cognitive performance. Physically nearby condition C1 had the lowest scores, consistent with prior work showing that the mere presence of a phone impairs cognition. Physically removed condition C2 had the highest scores, confirming that removing the phone restores its performance. Both AR interventions showed significant improvement over C1 and achieved scores similar to C2. We also use ANOVA and post-hoc tests to analyze RSPM scores, revealing a very similar pattern to OSPAN. C1 also had the lowest scores, C2 also had the highest scores, and finally, both AR interventions showed a marginally significant improvement over C1 and were statistically similar to C2. We now present findings from our post-interview analysis where participants rated 4 key questions on a 7-point Likert scale. The first question examines smartphone visibility under AR interventions. Most participants reported the phone as nearly or completely invisible, confirming the effectiveness of visual cancellation. While AR interventions reduce smartphone saliency, the holograms remain highly noticeable. Many describe them as bright or glowing, but not necessarily distracting. Next, we examine attention shifts towards the holograms. Some participants experienced initial curiosity-driven shifts, while others felt the hologram helped maintain focus. However, many reported a habituation effect, which is noticeable at first, but fading over time. We also explored participants' interest in adopting this technology. Many found it useful for reducing distractions and improving focus. Some even felt less tempted to check their phone without separation anxiety, highlighting an added psychological benefit. Overall, results suggest a positive experience for both productivity and focus. For RQ1, visually reducing the phone's salience via AR significantly improves cognitive performance compared to when the phone is visibly present. Even an ignored phone draws attention, but DiminishAR mitigates this by reducing the phone's visual salience. For RQ2, visually canceling the phone via AR provides cognitive benefits comparable to removing it. DiminishAR offloads cognitive effort, making the phone feel invisible rather than requiring active suppression. This suggests AR can reduce distractions while keeping the phone accessible when needed. And so while AR interventions effectively reduce distractions, limitations remain. First, the Microsoft HoloLens 2 limited field of view restricts user positioning, while its edited display makes holograms appear translucent in different lighting conditions. Second, all phones were turned off during the study, since prior work reports that phone power has no effect on cognitive performance. Future work should explore AR headsets with better field of view and occlusion, and assess interventions with various phone settings for broader applicability. These are our takeaways. Smartphones drain cognitive resources just by being present, but removing them isn't always practical. Our study provides the first empirical evidence that AR can reduce distractions without physical removal, restoring cognitive performance to levels similar to phone absence. This introduces a new design perspective. AR is not just about augmenting reality, but also diminishing distractions to enhance focus and productivity. Thank you.